One of the coolest things we do when we're sewing after the construction phase is to actually apply decorative stitches or decorative quilting stitches. The trick is to make sure that we put those stitches exactly where we want them to be. Sometimes we're off a little bit. Sometimes we'll notice that. Sometimes our friends will notice that. Sometimes we won't. But if we're doing parallel stitches like we see on this quilt, we'll notice it, and believe me, all of our friends will notice that the lines are off a little bit. So how do we make sure that we get perfect parallel lines? One way to do it is to get our ruler in hand, lay it down on our quilt, and make all of our little marks. Make all those marks again, line up the marks with new lines, and then we take our fabric to our machine and we sew the stitches in. But you can see this is very time consuming and very tedious to make sure we get all those lines drawn on there. The other way to do that is with Clover's Ultimate Quilt and Stitch Presser Foot. This is the fun way and the fast way to do that. The Quilt and Stitch Presser Foot is actually made out of a polycarbonate material. It has two different features. One is it's very glossy and smooth, so you can see the bottom of our presser foot is very smooth, and that allows the fabric to flow very smoothly underneath the presser foot, giving us really good stitch spacing. The other thing the polycarbonate material does is it makes it just very strong. This is a very durable piece. Now if you look at the presser foot itself, you can see this little cutout here. That gives us a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So if we just want a 1/4 inch seam allowance, we can use it just for that. Other than that, we can set any type of seam allowance we want from 3/8 of an inch all the way up to 3 inches. As you can see, this is set for this quilt. So each succeeding strip, we just move this seam guide to that strip, and then we sew the next strip, and it'll be perfect every time. So if we wanted 3/8 of an inch, we just narrow it all the way down to the bottom. If we want 3 inches, then we can bring it all the way up. Now something to keep in mind is that when we talk about parallel lines, we're not talking about just straight parallel lines. We can also do curves. We can do outside curves, we can do inside curves, we can even do circles. So this is really the ultimate stitch guide for any type of decorative stitching we want to do. Now this is what it looks like when we put the Ultimate Quilt and Stitch Presser Foot on our machine. As you can see, we have a low shank machine. We simply loosen up this bolt, slide the foot on there, tighten it back up, and we're ready to go. We just actually set the stitch guide anywhere from 3/8 of an inch all the way out to 3 inches. If we follow the previous line here, we get perfect parallel lines on this side. The Ultimate Quilt and Stitch Presser Foot is the ultimate stitch guide for any type of decorative stitching we want to do. It belongs in every sewing studio. As always, we're interested in your thoughts. Please comment below. I'm Steve Butler. That's been Tool School.